Welcome to The Explainer. Look, today we're diving into a genuinely chilling but honestly fascinating vision of our near future. We're going to unpack a speculative dispatch from the year 2035 by scholar Benoit Nouni-Lapierre. It's this incredibly thought-provoking look at how tech, algorithms, and our cities might evolve. And spoiler alert, they don't control us by making us all the same. They do it by hyper-customizing our reality. Let's just jump right in. Okay, let's kick things off with a question that might actually challenge how you see yourself. Does your online niche make you uniquely rebellious? Think about it. Whether you're hanging out in a radical political subculture, some tech-heavy crypto commune, or a traditionalist enclave, do you feel like you're pushing back against the mainstream machine just by being different? Well, here's the terrifying reality of Nouni-Lapierre's 2035. The machine actually wants you to be hyper-unique. I mean, the algorithm absolutely loves your highly specific worldview. Why? Because your differences, your very specific aesthetic choices, and all those fierce political debates you get into, they're literally the easiest things for it to categorize and monetize. So that brings us to Section 1, the end of the universal. Think back to the past. The classic colonial or state power basically wanted everyone to assimilate into one universal mold, right? It was this massive homogenizing force, a melting pot. But today's algorithmic regime, it operates through the exact opposite mechanism. Instead of pushing us all together, the system basically mandates that we isolate and enclose ourselves into these hyper-segregated micro-niches. It's the ultimate strategy of digital divide and conquer. And that gives rise to what the author calls the neuro-nomad, which, let's be real, is essentially you and me. The neuro-nomad is constantly wandering through these hyper-curated digital spaces, totally mistaking these isolated, algorithmic bubbles for authentic freedom. We really think we're building our own bespoke communities, but actually, our attention is just being captured, sorted, and fed right back to us.
Which perfectly sets up Section 2, the micro-niche identity trap.
You might actually be caught in something called libidinal autophagy. It's a fancy way of saying it's a self-devouring identity trap. We are literally cannibalizing our own cultures, our rituals, our beliefs, all just to maintain our specialized data profiles. We extract our own traditions and turn them into aesthetic content, just to prove we belong to our little niche. Here's exactly how this trap snaps shut. Step 1, we retreat to our cozy digital niche. Step 2, to prove we're real members, we frantically police our own borders, calling out any deviation as a total betrayal. And step 3, the algorithm cashes in. Every single time you fight with someone over who is more authentic, you're unknowingly generating massive amounts of engagement data. So the harsh truth is this: flaunting your hyper-specific lifestyle isn't actually a rebellion. It's the exact fuel the machine requires to keep running. We're completely confusing an insulated digital enclosure for actual, real-world political agency. All right, moving on to Section 3, the true universal, the plumbing. Here is a truly chilling realization. The shared human experience, what we used to call the universal, hasn't disappeared. Nope. It's just migrated from the soul of the city directly into its plumbing. We're no longer united by shared meaning or culture, but by the cold, unfeeling architecture of our technology. So these automated networks, they are the new universals of 2035. We're talking fiber optic protocols, high-frequency trading, biometric surveillance systems. These are the logistical backbones of our world now. And what's absolutely crucial to understand is that they operate with total mathematical indifference to human meaning. The author calls this the ancestral silence. Basically, this means the infrastructure doesn't care if your niche is left-wing, right-wing, or anything in between. It is completely impartial. It simply translates all your ideological rage, your passions, and all your debates into the exact same agnostic digital code. At the end of the day, it just wants your data to route cleanly. Now let's look at how this impacts the physical world in Section 4, cities with invisible walls. In 2035, physical segregation isn't just about brick walls anymore. It's about your differential access to friction. Algorithms are literally deciding your physical experience of the world. The elite, they glide seamlessly through the city with frictionless biometric access. Meanwhile, the gig worker is subjected to manufactured friction. They're endlessly slowed down, monitored, and delayed by that very same system.
The city itself has fractured into what the author terms an archipelago of non-places. We're talking about sterile environments entirely made of glass and steel, elite residential towers, automated hubs, securitized districts, all optimized purely for algorithmic access control and endless panoptic surveillance.
We've lost something really profound here. The messy, beautiful collision of different classes on a democratic 20th century street? That's been totally replaced in 2035 by these sterile, aestheticized corridors. You might occupy the same physical space as other people, but you're existing in desynchronized dimensions. You are permanently insulated from anyone outside your algorithmic profile. So, is there a way out? Let's explore that in Section 5, Escaping the Algorithmic Machine. Okay, let's dive right into the solution. First things first, we absolutely must abandon the old 20th century idea that visibility and representation are forms of victory. Actually, scratch that. It's more like a trap. Today, demanding to be seen by the system just makes you easier to capture. Being visible literally just means being indexed and monetized. So the very first tool in the author's survival guide is tactical opacity. This is the deliberate production of cultures and spaces that are intentionally unreadable to algorithmic scanners. It's a resolute refusal to be categorized, to be styled, or turned into some predictable data profile. You essentially have to generate noise, not clean data. The second tool is infrastructural parasitism. Think of it kind of like a digital heist. It means using the system's own hyper-efficient pipelines, its communication lines and automated supply chains, to secretly circulate uncommodifiable care and resources among each other, staying totally off the algorithm's radar. So how do we actually pull this off? Well, first, you stop performing your identity for the algorithm. Just stop feeding it. Second, become indistinguishable from background noise. And finally, build hidden networks of mutual support, what the text calls necrotic mutualism, just quietly growing beneath the foundations of the dominant culture.
Because look, the goal isn't to storm the palace from the outside. That's pretty much impossible now. The goal is to learn to survive, totally undigested, within the belly of the automated machine. We have to use their infrastructure to preserve the unpredictable, messy reality of what makes us truly human. I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to ponder as we wrap up this explainer. In a world where the machine literally feeds on their desire to be unique, and your rebellion is treated as just another data point, how will you choose to remain unseen? Thank you so much for exploring this fascinating future with me. Keep questioning the algorithms around you